What if the story you've been told about aging is a deliberate illusion? Every wrinkle, every strand of gray, every drop of vitality fading from your body isn't a natural law. It's programming. A script written deep into the human mind to convince you that time is your master. But time is not your enemy. It's your invention. Hidden within ancient myth lies a system to reverse this internal code, a teaching said to come from Thoth, the Egyptian keeper of wisdom. Those who approached him sought to transcend decay, not by potion or surgery, but through a change in frequency. I will share with you the 4 keys of that forgotten method, secrets scattered across centuries, and now pieced together again. The first key begins with something so ordinary, so ever-present that you rarely question it. It is the invisible poison you ingest every day. Before naming it, you must understand why the lie of aging has survived. Society thrives on limits. Empires are built upon the fear of running out of time. The moment you accept an expiration date, you can be controlled. But what if your body was never designed to wither? What if it is a self-healing organism, a living technology capable of endless renewal when aligned with its original blueprint? The ancients believed this was true. In forgotten valleys of China, legends whisper of Li Qingyuan, the man who lived beyond 2 centuries. His secret wasn't miracle genes. It was practice, breathing that synchronized the pulse of his body with the motion of the stars, sleeping not in darkness, but in the radiance of the heart. What sounded like mysticism was biology in disguise. Modern neuroscience now shows that deep meditative states switch on dormant repair genes, strengthening DNA itself. The sages described it through poetry. Scientists describe it through data. Both speak of one reality. Consciousness commands matter. While the East sought immortality through inner harmony, 18th century Europe chased it through voltage and flesh. In laboratories hidden beneath candlelight, unorthodox thinkers pushed the edge between life and death. When Luigi Galvani made a dead frog's legs leap with an electric spark, the academies laughed. But others saw revelation. If electricity could awaken dead tissue, could it also reignite the fading spark of the living? Rumors spread of forbidden experiments. Bodies of the condemned jolted until their eyes fluttered open for seconds, skin tightening as if refusing to yield to death. Whether these accounts were true no longer matters. Their symbolism remains. Life is current. Death is disconnection. The body is not merely chemistry, it is circuitry. Every cell is a capacitor holding charge. Every heartbeat an electrical command. Every thought a measurable electromagnetic field. The ancients called this energy chai, prana, ruach, the breath of God. They understood that health is the clear flow of this current, and disease is its static. To stay young is to keep the current pure. Yet over time, humanity forgot how to listen to its own signal. The knowledge that the body is light made solid was buried beneath dogma and commerce. Instead, we were taught to fear what we could not touch, to worship pills over breath, and to call imbalance normal life. The first poison entered not through food or air, but through thought. A constant hum of fear, stress, and resentment began corroding the inner circuitry. This is the true toxin that accelerates aging, the emotional voltage of survival mode. Imagine every cell as a tiny soldier awaiting orders. When fear speaks, they contract. When anger fires, they burn. When anxiety persists, they forget their rhythm. Modern terms like psychoneuroimmunology only confirm what the mystics knew. Emotions sculpt biology. Chronic stress shortens the telomeres at the ends of your chromosomes, erasing the code that keeps you young. Each moment spent in resentment is a silent command for decay. The antidote is not in laboratories, but in vibration. Gratitude, peace, and love are not abstract virtues. They are coherent frequencies that retune the orchestra of the body. When harmony returns, organs find their tempo, hormones balance, and immune cells sing instead of fight. Health is music made visible. The true task is to become the conductor again. How do you retake the baton? Through breath, the bridge between what you control and what controls you. Most people breathe as if asleep, shallow and mechanical, but conscious breathing rewrites the body's software in seconds. Slow, deliberate inhalations expand the diaphragm, pressing against the vagus nerve, which signals the body, The danger is gone. In that instant, blood pressure drops, inflammation subsides, and regeneration begins. The body finally remembers safety, and in safety, it heals. No supplement matches the alchemy of a single mindful breath. It is the first act of defiance against the tyranny of time. When you master breathing, you master vibration. When you master vibration, you master biology. This is the first initiation into Thoth's method, the awakening of internal current through awareness. But this is only the opening of the gate. To sustain youth, one must also learn to draw nourishment from the universe itself, the luminous field humanity has been taught to fear. For your body was not designed merely to feed on matter but on light. The sun, long demonized as destroyer, was once revered as healer. In its early rays lie frequencies that awaken the mitochondrial engines within you, restoring the rhythm of life. Before we enter that realm of light, remember, aging begins the moment you forget your own power. The first key is recognition. You are not a machine running down. You are an instrument out of tune. Tune the instrument and the song of youth plays again. Light is not just illumination. It is food. It is information. Every beam that touches your skin carries a silent command to awaken. Modern science admits that the body converts sunlight into vitamin D, a regulator of hundreds of genetic functions. But the ancients saw deeper. They knew that morning light, soft, red, and low, penetrates the cells, recharging the mitochondrial batteries that sustain all life. To them, standing before the sunrise was a ritual of communion, a daily download of cosmic energy. You are, in essence, a photosynthetic creature disguised as flesh. Your eyes are not passive cameras. They are sensors calibrating the internal clock that governs hormones, mood, and metabolism. Yet modern humans begin each day not with sunlight but with artificial glow, the sterile blue of a screen. You have traded the nourishment of the heavens for the flicker of machines. Then you wonder why fatigue clings to you, why sleep feels shallow, why vitality fades. The doctrine of fear has taught you that the sun is your enemy, that its warmth carves wrinkles, that its light breeds disease. The truth is more nuanced. Reckless exposure burns, but absence starves. The body, denied its primary signal, drifts into confusion. 10 minutes of morning light, without sunglasses, without filters, acts like a command to your cellular symphony. Awaken, synchronize, repair. Within that spectrum lies the frequency that turns on genes of longevity and resets circadian harmony. But every rhythm requires its counterpoint. Just as the sun restores life, the night restores order. The ancients honored darkness as sacred. It was the womb of rebirth. They understood that only in true darkness does the pineal gland release its black elixir, melatonin, the master hormone of rejuvenation. Melatonin is more than a sleep aid. It is a molecular guardian, a repairman of damaged DNA, a quiet conductor of immune intelligence. Yet the electric age has shattered the night. Artificial light, the invisible intruder, floods your home long after sunset. The blue wavelengths from screens and LEDs mimic daylight, tricking the brain into thinking the sun never sets. Your inner clock panics. Melatonin production collapses. Repair ceases. The nightly cleansing rituals of the body are postponed indefinitely. You may lie in bed for 8 hours, but your cells remain awake, anxious, waiting for the night that never comes. This disconnection between light and darkness, activity and rest, is one of the deepest roots of premature aging. The remedy is simple yet radical. Restore the sacred rhythm. Let sunrise touch your eyes and let night reclaim its silence. Cover screens, extinguish the glowing clocks, and sleep in a darkness so complete that the body can once again whisper its ancient language. In that silence, the machinery of regeneration hums back to life, as the first key purifies vibration, and the second realigns you with light and dark. Another illusion begins to tremble, the illusion of time itself. Humanity worships the clock, counting days, measuring years, celebrating birthdays as if numbers could define existence. But biology doesn't tick, it pulses. Your cells do not follow calendars, they follow experiences. To them, time expands or contracts according to intensity. Recall a week of adventure that felt endless, or a year of monotony that vanished without trace. Chronology is a mental cage, but perception is elastic. When the mind races, time speeds up. and the body interprets this acceleration as decay. When awareness slows, time opens wide, and the body enters regeneration. Tibetan monks who fall into deep meditation describe a stillness where hours dissolve. Scientific instruments now verify that their metabolic rate drops, oxygen consumption decreases, and DNA repair activates. They are not escaping time. They are rewriting it. You have felt this too. Those moments of total absorption, painting, dancing, creating, or loving. You forget the clock. You merge with the act. The brain's control center for self and time quiets, and in that quiet your biology resets. This is known as the flow state, and it is not a poetic metaphor. It is cellular alchemy. Children live in this state constantly. That is why they seem immortal, brimming with energy, healing without effort. Adults lose it in the noise of obligation. But the key remains. To access it, you must trick the mind into slowness. Techniques like fractal breathing, inhale, hold, and exhale to the count of 7. Stretch perception, creating micro-eternities inside each minute. In that expanded now, the body believes it has more time to repair. 1 minute in flow can equal 10 in ordinary awareness. This is how you begin to bend time from within, not by defying physics but by mastering perception. When breath becomes the metronome and light the fuel, time obeys you instead of eroding you. You become not a victim of the ticking clock but the composer of tempo. The cells mirror this rhythm, shifting from defense to creation. Stress, the eternal thief, loses its hold. The biological machinery of youth is not destroyed. It is simply asleep, waiting for your command. You have now uncovered 3 of the 4 keys: vibration, light, and time. Together they tune, charge, and expand the living instrument that you are. But an instrument, no matter how perfect, needs power to sound. The next key awakens that power, the current that connects you directly to the living earth beneath your feet. Beneath you lies a vast ocean of electricity. The ground is not inert. It hums with charge. Every grain of soil holds an excess of free electrons, waiting for something or someone to receive them. For millions of years, every creature on Earth lived plugged into this natural circuit. Bare feet met living ground, skin met dew. Bodies exchanged current with the planet that birthed them. Only recently did humanity sever this bond, insulating itself behind concrete and rubber, worshipping synthetic light while starving for real energy. Your body is not chemical first. It is electrical. Each cell is a miniature battery, maintaining a delicate voltage across its membrane. When that voltage falls below a threshold, function decays and death follows soon after. The heart does not beat by willpower. It fires because an electrical impulse orders it to. The brain is not a collection of thoughts but of currents. Its magnetic field can be detected meters away. The human being is, in truth, a walking electromagnetic field condensed into flesh. To recharge that field, you must reconnect with the original power source, Earth itself. This act has been called grounding or earthing. It sounds trivial until you feel it. Walking barefoot on wet grass or sand, the soles of your feet become conduits, absorbing negative electrons that neutralize the positive charge built up from stress, inflammation, and radiation. This invisible exchange lowers cortisol levels, balances blood viscosity, steadies heart rhythm, and quiets the nervous system. You are not merely touching soil. You are completing a circuit. Think of how modern life unfolds. Insulated shoes, synthetic floors, high-rise towers. Your entire day passes without a moment of direct contact with nature's current. You search for outlets to charge your phone, but never your body. The irony is perfect. You care more for the battery of a machine than for the voltage that sustains your own life. Chronic fatigue, insomnia, inflammation, these are not random ailments. They are symptoms of electrical starvation. Ancient initiates knew this intuitively. The temples of Egypt were aligned with ley lines, natural currents of planetary energy. Rituals began with the removal of sandals, grounding the priests before invocation. They understood that divine communication required alignment with Earth's frequency. In their language, the goddess of ground and fertility, Geb, was not myth but the personification of this living current. The act of touching Earth was an act of communion. Modern physics now gives the same truth a new vocabulary. The planet maintains a stable potential of roughly 200 millivolts relative to the atmosphere. The human body resonates best near that same value. When disconnected, oxidative stress rises. When reconnected, the excess charge is bled off like lightning finding the sea. Every inflammation, every aging cell, carries a spark of imbalance that can be neutralized by a single barefoot step. The simplest ritual is often the most forgotten. Once you feel the pulse of the ground beneath you, a realization dawns. The separation between you and nature is illusion. The electrons flowing into your body once powered thunderstorms, rivers, and roots. You and the planet share the same heartbeat. When you pollute the earth, you poison your own circuit. When you walk gently, you heal both at once. Health is reciprocity. The earth gives, and you must learn again how to receive. At this point, the 4 keys form a living equation. Vibration purifies the internal field. Light feeds the cells with cosmic energy. Mastery of time expands the duration of regeneration. Grounding recharges the system with planetary power. Together they create coherence, a stable harmonic between body, earth, and cosmos. This coherence is the essence of what Thoth called the flowering of consciousness, the state in which matter obeys spirit, and aging yields to awareness. But knowledge alone does not transform. The final initiation requires ritual, not superstition but conscious enactment. The ancients symbolized it as death and rebirth, the shedding of the false self that believed in decay. When you practice these keys daily, you simulate that death. With each deliberate breath, you bury fear. With each sunrise, you resurrect vitality. With each night of pure darkness, you return to the womb of creation. With each barefoot step, you anchor spirit into matter. This is alchemy in motion, the transformation of leaden habit into golden awareness. Immortality, in this sense, is not about preserving flesh like a statue. It is about animating it so completely that it glows from within. The skin smooths because energy flows unobstructed. The eyes brighten because consciousness has returned home. Eternal youth is not denial of death. It is intimacy with life so deep that death loses meaning. You cease to chase longevity and begin to embody it. Those who reach this stage realize that the temple of Amenti, the mythical hall of initiation, is not buried under stone, but within the heart. Each breath, each step, each moment of mindful presence opens another chamber. Inside waits the same message that Thoth whispered to every seeker. You are not a body that possesses energy. You are energy that temporarily wears a body. Recognize this, and the illusion of time collapses. As the current of earth flows through you, as the rhythm of light and dark guides you, as breath steadies your vibration and awareness stretches time, a silent equilibrium emerges. You are no longer aging, you are oscillating. Life moves through you in perfect balance, creation and decay dancing as one. This is the real forbidden secret. Rejuvenation is not a miracle, but a symmetry. The ritual of death and rebirth is not a ceremony of robes or chants. It is a psychological dissection, the dismantling of identity itself. The ancients called it entering the halls of Amenti, the inward passage where illusions dissolve. In that inner temple, the old self dies, the one that worshipped fear, chased vanity, and mistook the body for the soul. What survives that death is awareness itself, untouched, luminous, infinite. Every true initiation begins here, in silence, where breath becomes the bridge between what perishes and what cannot. To breathe consciously is to weave energy. You no longer inhale air. You inhale intention. You exhale the static of old emotions. The lungs become bellows of transformation, turning anxiety into vitality, grief into clarity, resistance into flow. This was the first teaching of the adepts. Control breath and you control vibration. Once the vibration is harmonized, the body reorganizes around it like iron filings aligning to a magnet. Regeneration follows naturally because order is its native state. You then move beyond breath into communion. Sunlight is no longer radiation, it is code. Delivers information directly to your DNA. The ancients called this solar nourishment the feeding of Ra. To absorb light without resistance is to absorb wisdom itself. You open your pores as sensors, your eyes as conduits, and you receive life not as warmth but as intelligence. This is why they prayed at dawn, the moment when light first touches darkness and the world remembers to begin again. Night, its counterpart, is no less sacred. In the black stillness, Melatonin becomes the priest of restoration, guiding the body through its unseen rituals of repair. Each night is a miniature death, a rehearsal for surrender. You release the world, let go of control, and enter the vast silence where the body mends itself in secrecy. To fear darkness is to fear renewal. Only by embracing both day and night, the pulse of existence, can the body remain in balance. Once this rhythm stabilizes, you begin to perceive time differently. The clock becomes irrelevant. You feel minutes stretch and hours dissolve, realizing that time has always been an agreement, not a fact. Inside flow, you exist beyond it. The body responds to this perception shift as if gifted extra life. When time slows, repair accelerates. Cells synchronize with stillness. It is as though the body measures age not by chronology, but by dissonance, and each moment of harmony resets the count. Then, grounded and luminous, you step back into the world yet remain detached from its hypnosis. The news, the noise, the chaos no longer penetrate you because you now generate your own field. You realize that immortality is not an external prize. It is a frequency of awareness. The more coherent the field, the less entropy can invade it. Aging, disease, fatigue, all forms of chaos cannot persist in sustained coherence, but such mastery carries a burden. Power always demands equilibrium. The same consciousness that rejuvenates can corrupt if ruled by ego. History warns of this. The seekers who craved immortality for vanity became prisoners of form, clinging to the shell while their spirit withered. Kings who desired endless reign decayed into monsters. The secret of Thoth was never meant for domination but for remembrance. To misuse it is to invite collapse, for energy amplifies what you are. If you are bound by greed, it multiplies greed. If you are guided by humility, it multiplies light. The higher the voltage, the greater the shadow it casts. When you command life force, your intentions magnify in the fabric of reality. This is why the initiates swore vows of purity before practice. They purified the mind not through dogma, but through stillness. A tranquil mind cannot distort power. In turbulence, even divine energy becomes poison. The forbidden nature of this knowledge lies not in danger to the body, but to the ego that wields it. You are asked, therefore, to surrender. The final trial of a mentee is not endurance, it is humility. To step into timelessness, you must release the obsession with self. You become a channel rather than a container. The energy of life flows through you, not for you. The distinction is everything. When you stop hoarding vitality, it multiplies. When you let love circulate without ownership, it expands. The body that once aged from fear now glows with purpose. True immortality is service. It is the state of being so aligned with life's rhythm that you naturally extend it around you. Plants grow stronger in your presence. People feel calmer near you, not because of mysticism but coherence. You are no longer draining energy through resistance. You are radiating it through flow. The body becomes transparent to spirit, and spirit dances in form. This is why the ancient texts warned that knowledge of the life force was to be guarded, not to hoard power, but to protect humanity from its own immaturity. When consciousness expands faster than compassion, imbalance follows. The alchemist who forgets love turns lead into ashes, not gold. Thus, the journey demands responsibility, equal to revelation. You cannot escape consequence. Each thought, each emotion, each breath becomes creative law. There is no more accident, no more victimhood. You are the author of your frequency, and your frequency writes reality. This is the real meaning of being made in the image of the divine, not in form, but in creative power. The right is simple but absolute. Live as awareness, breathe as prayer, act as harmony. When these three align, you have crossed the threshold from seeker to guardian. From this point, the path no longer teaches you, you teach the path. Responsibility is the final gate. Once you recognize that every heartbeat, every emotion, every thought shapes reality, you can no longer plead ignorance. You have become the architect of your vibration, the engineer of your destiny. With power comes the question that determines the fate of every initiate. Will you serve life, or will you serve yourself? Throughout history, those who reached this precipice faced the same temptation. Power can intoxicate. The ability to influence energy, to slow time, to repair the body and alter perception. These gifts become mirrors revealing the smallest impurities within. If vanity lingers, it will magnify. If greed hides, it will grow fangs. The universe magnifies intention the way light magnifies through a lens. Pure purpose becomes radiance. Corruption becomes fire. This is why the knowledge of the four keys was never widely shared. It was not hidden because it failed, but because it worked too well. The ego, if unrefined, weaponizes creation. The moment you think I am above others, decay begins again, because separation is entropy. The secret, therefore, is not mastery over others, but mastery over self. Eternal youth is a byproduct of inner balance, not a trophy of control. The stories of fallen seekers echo through myth. Kings who sought to preserve the flesh lost their humanity. Alchemists who desired glory drowned in obsession. They tried to cage eternity instead of becoming it. Their mistake was confusing immortality with possession. To want endless life out of fear of death is still to serve fear. Real immortality begins when fear dissolves. To live forever does not mean to cling to a single form. It means to live so consciously that life continues to express itself through you, endlessly renewed. The river does not strive to remain a droplet. It flows, and in flowing it never dies. The monument crumbles, but the river remains. Be the river. Let life move through you. That is the true art of regeneration. As awareness deepens, the line between you and the world fades. You begin to feel that harming another is harming yourself, that polluting the earth is poisoning your own cells. The illusion of separation breaks. Your breath belongs to the trees. Their oxygen becomes your prayer. Your heartbeat echoes the pulse of the oceans. In this unity, the obsession with personal longevity loses meaning because you realize you already exist in all forms. The flower that blooms, the tide that shifts, the child that laughs, all are extensions of the same field of life you now consciously inhabit. This is the purpose of the method, to return you to wholeness. The body becomes a sanctuary of the cosmos, not an isolated prison of flesh. In that realization, aging as you know it stops. The body no longer mirrors anxiety and division. It mirrors coherence and peace. The more you live in gratitude, the slower the clock runs, because gratitude expands perception, and perception shapes time. Imagine an elderly woman, shoulders curved by years, eyes dim from habit. One day she hears a whisper of these truths, not as fantasy but as possibility. Doubtful yet desperate, she begins small. She breathes deeply when fear visits. She greets the morning sun with open palms. At night she darkens her room completely, surrendering to true sleep. She steps barefoot into her garden, feeling the cool soil beneath her feet. Day by day she feels a subtle hum inside her chest, as if the earth itself were breathing with her. Months pass. The mirror changes. Her spine straightens. Her steps become light. Her face softens, not from youth regained, but from tension released. Her eyes regain the spark that only truth ignites. She does not appear younger. She is younger. For age was never measured in years, but in resistance. When neighbors ask for her secret, she smiles and answers simply, "I stopped obeying time." This story is not fantasy. It is instruction. The transformation is not granted by miracle, but earned through awareness. When you live in harmony with the four currents, vibration, light, time, and earth, your biology cannot help but follow. The body reflects consciousness as faithfully as the moon reflects the sun. Change the source and the reflection transforms. But even here, at the edge of transcendence, the law of balance remains. Every spark of creation carries equal responsibility. When you radiate peace, you heal the collective field. When you radiate fear, you darken it. There are no private emotions. Your frequency contributes to the planetary symphony. This is the hidden meaning behind "as within, so without." Your inner weather becomes the climate of the world. The age of secrecy is ending. Humanity stands again before the same choice that faced the ancients: awaken or decay. Technology may extend life, but without consciousness it only prolongs confusion. The four keys are not medicine, they are remembrance. They return you to the design that existed before fear rewrote the code. At this level, words like aging, healing, and time lose their meaning. Only one remains: presence. When you dwell fully in presence, you are neither young nor old, living nor dying. You simply are, radiant and timeless. The cells echo that truth. They stop fighting entropy and start echoing infinity. The final initiation is not given by a teacher. It happens quietly, in an ordinary moment, breathing, walking, watching sunlight tremble on water, when you realize that the secret you sought has always been you. There comes a moment when seeking ends. The formulas, rituals, and symbols fall away, leaving only stillness. In that stillness, you no longer chase eternity. You remember it. What was once theory becomes embodiment. Breath becomes prayer. Sleep becomes renewal. Every act, no matter how simple, becomes an offering to life itself. The 4 keys are not rules but rhythms. They are the instruments through which consciousness composes reality. When vibration is purified, breath flows freely. When light and darkness are honored, the inner clock regains harmony. When grounding restores charge, energy flows like a clear river through the body. And when awareness transcends time, the illusion of decay vanishes. This is the living equation of immortality, no longer mystical, merely natural. True mastery begins when you stop performing the practice and start being the practice. You no longer do breathing exercises. You live as breath. You no longer take sunlight. You radiate light. You no longer connect to the earth. You move as part of her circuitry. You no longer manage time. You dissolve into its center where past and future meet in the eternal now. Life ceases to be a problem to solve and becomes a song to remember. The ancients called this stage the flowering of the soul. The body, once dense and weary, becomes translucent to energy. Its chemistry follows the command of consciousness like metal shaped by flame. You sense youth not as appearance but as pulse, an inner luminosity that no mirror can capture. The paradox unfolds. When you stop clinging to life, life clings to you. When you stop fearing death, vitality floods in. But even here, caution remains. The moment you try to own this power, it slips away. Energy serves only those who serve it. The current of creation cannot be possessed. It can only be conducted. The wise remain humble because they know that to claim mastery is to lose it. The river flows through an open channel, never through a closed hand. Thus, the teaching of Thoth concludes where it began, with awareness. Awareness is the eternal temple, the indestructible structure within which all transformation occurs. When you dwell in awareness, no illusion can hold. Fear becomes observation. Pain becomes message. Aging becomes a story the body no longer needs to tell. You move through life untouched by its former gravity, yet more deeply human than before. Every gesture turns sacred. Eating becomes communion, not consumption. Walking becomes meditation, not travel. Words become vibrations shaping the field. You discover that the world has never been inert. It listens. It mirrors your frequency. If you speak with resentment, life echoes bitterness. If you speak with gratitude, life answers with grace. The universe is not against you. It is responsive to you. This is the culmination of the forbidden method, to awaken the architect within. You were never meant to obey time. You were meant to command it, not through domination but through harmony. Time obeys coherence. It bends toward presence. When you are fully here, the seconds stretch wide enough to hold eternity. The woman who learned to breathe, to honor the sun, to embrace darkness, to walk barefoot on living soil, she is the symbol of this truth. She did not discover a miracle. She remembered design. Each breath she took rewrote her biology. Each sunrise reprogrammed her cells. Each night of true rest restored her circuitry. Her transformation was the universe recognizing itself through her. And when she whispered, "Time obeys me," she was not boasting. She was describing alignment. This is what all sages, monks, mystics, and seekers were pointing to beneath different languages and rituals. The realization that consciousness creates continuity. The body is the glove of the soul, not its cage. When the glove tears, the hand remains. And when the hand knows itself as light, it can weave new forms without end. Immortality was never the denial of death. It was the understanding that life cannot end. Now the cycle completes. The 4 keys return to silence, and only one truth remains: awareness itself. Awareness needs no technique, no teacher, no temple. It is the source from which all methods emerge, and to which all return. When you rest there, time dissolves, and life begins anew with every breath. If you have journeyed this far, you have already crossed the threshold. The words are no longer information, they are activation. You are not reading about the method. You are becoming it. Each cell hears this resonance and responds. The orchestra of your being tunes itself to the frequency of eternity. So take a slow, deliberate breath. Feel the air enter not just your lungs but your entire field. Feel the pulse beneath your feet, the faint hum of the earth recharging you. Let sunlight touch your skin and darkness cradle your rest. Live as one who has remembered. Then speak the final decree not as a hope but as a truth already realized. From this moment forward, time rejuvenates me. I'm the master of my time. The journey does not end. It only changes direction, from learning to living, from seeking to embodying. The secret has always waited within you, patient as breath, silent as dawn. And now the forgotten becomes remembered. The mortal becomes luminous, and the dance of life continues without end.